I lost more footage of what I was supposed to be recording. Okay, April has been over for like 1,001 years and I have not gotten any of my April content like pushed out yet. Almost June, by the way. Hi guys, it's Allie. You can call me Allie, and today we'll be doing my April and May reading wrap up. In case you're new and you don't know how things work here on this channel, we have 4 categories every single month. We have our read, our DNF'd, our predicted, and our continuing over. Read is obviously what I read, DNF'd is what I did not finish. Our carrying over is what I'm carrying over from the month because I plan on finishing them. And our predicted are books that I think I'm gonna read, but I'm not too sure, so I don't hold myself to that list very often. I do have somewhere to be in 15 minutes, so I think we're only gonna get the April reads done right now, and I'll come back and we'll do our May reads. Starting with our reads for the month, I read Mocha. I do have this one in a physical copy. Mocha is about a girl in Seoul who is getting stalked by these Mocha cameras. The government is doing absolutely nothing, so she takes matters into her own hands. It is body horror and a lot of gore. I love this author, Monica Kim. She has just come out with this book, actually, and I read her other book, The Eyes Are the Best Part, last year, which is what put me onto her. This is a dual POV in the sense that it follows 2 different characters. It's third person limited, so each chapter is either the main character or one of the creepy guys who is actually stalking her. And she is in a relationship, our main character is in a relationship with a really wealthy guy, and he is not as he seems. I definitely recommend this. I ended up giving this a 4-star. It was definitely extremely interesting to read, and it brought a lot of attention to the fact that the government's not doing anything about this in Seoul right now. Like, this is something that is happening, and this is why Monica Kim is writing about it. Trigger warning, of course. There is a lot of gory thing. People's appendages are getting cut off. I do think the writing is really simplistic in that it's super easy to understand, and I would consider this female rage. I really would. But I know there's a lot of discourse about what is considered female rage, so give this a go. The next book I read was Yellowface. Yellowface follows a white author who is trying to publish a book about Asian historical culture. Her book is a success, but the only thing is she stole the manuscript from a Chinese American friend of hers who she actually watched die. It's such a trip, honestly, because you're in her head and you're rooting for her, but at the same time you're like, this is crazy. You're literally stealing somebody else's work, claiming it as your own. It's just her trying to convince herself and the readers and everybody around her that she is in the right for stealing somebody's manuscript, but she doesn't want them to know that she stole their manuscript. So she's actually low-key a little racist, and I think this shines a lot of light on people who are racist without being intentional. Like, people who are so ignorant and so unwilling to listen to the cause that they end up being racist, even if they are trying their hardest not to be racist. I rated this book 5 stars. I think the main character is definitely super aggravating. It's totally unbelievable the amount of times I'm just sat there like, what is this girl on? It's just, you have to read the book, but at the end it is so infuriating. It's so aggravating. The next book I read was such a quick read. It's called A Walk in the Woods. It's a meditation guide on how to just make your life a whole bunch more simpler. It was super cute. It used Winnie the Pooh as metaphors, and I think if you just need a quick read that kind of grounds you to reality, that isn't like a full story, I think this book is for you. I rated this 4 stars. I think it was a quick read. I read it when I went to bed, and I just enjoyed it. The second to last book I read was The Mad Wife. The Mad Wife follows a woman as she is going through pregnancy and postpartum depression. This is in the time period of like the 50s and 60s where women going through postpartum depression didn't really have a lot of support. Our main character is a housewife dealing with her son and postpartum depression as she moves and navigates through having new neighbors, and she's very intrigued about these neighbors. So our main character is going crazy trying to figure out what the issue is, and she's going through depression. We need to know about our past, and we need to know why these things were happening. We need to know what was happening back then, because it's not all peachy sunshine and rainbows. As happy as women seemed back then, they were definitely going through a lot of stuff. So I think I gave this 4 stars as well. And our last book for April is Paradise Rot. Paradise Rot, I don't really even know how to describe it. It is very erotic, but also not erotic at the same time. The main character lives in this old warehouse that has been transitioned into a regular house with her roommate, and there's basically no privacy in this house. Her and her roommate are getting extremely close, and they're blurring boundaries, and they're forming a codependent relationship that is not at all healthy. I want to read you the description of this book. A lyrical debut novel from a musician and artist renowned for her sharp sexual and political imagery. Jo is in a strange new country for university and having a more peculiar time than most. In a house with no walls shared with a woman who has no boundaries, she finds her strange home coming to life in unimaginable ways. Jo's sensitivity and all her senses become increasingly heightened and fraught as the lines between bodies and plans, dreaming and wakefulness, blur and mesh. This debut novel from critically acclaimed artist and musician Jenny Haval presents a heady and hypersensual portrayal of sexual awakening and queer desire. This book was a quick read and it was really fun. It was very interesting. I was just sat there like, what the heck is happening the entire time? I'm going to do something that I don't normally do. I'm going to go over my April stats because it is the first month of quarter 2. Average rating was a 4.1. The books I read was 14 books. I read 4 romance, 1 thriller, 1 mystery, 4 horror, 3 lit fic, 1 YA, 1 memoir, and 1 nonfiction. I have a couple of 5-star reads: Yellowface, Finding Me, Friend Zone, and The Companion. The most read author that I read was B.K. Borison. Now that we got our stats out of the way, let's talk about my DNFs for the month. I DNF'd one book. It's called The Shadows. I don't even know what it was about. My friend gave it to me. I started reading it. I didn't really like it, but I did give it to my friend, so it is not lost on me. I can probably pick it back up anytime I want if I feel like it, but I just didn't really enjoy the opening plot. Some books that I am carrying over. I have 3 books that I was carrying over. I had Goodnight Stranger, which is a book that I've been trying to read for the past 3 years. Next book that I was reading was The Fisherman. The Fisherman is a book about grief, and I am literally like 12% of the way through, so I can't even tell you what it's about, but I do have in my other monthly wrap-up a synopsis of the book and why I was interested in it. I rented the book off of Libby and I ran out of time to read it, so I'm waiting for my loan to relapse so I can read it again. And the last book of April that I am carrying over was Turtles All the Way Down. This is part of my Joshing John Green series. It is one of his newer books and it has been turned into a movie. I had a couple of predictions for April as to what I'd be reading. I predicted I would read Hysteria. There's another video talking about Hysteria for you guys to watch. I would put it in the cards, but I don't know how, so I'll just link it down below, I guess. The Hawthorne Legacy, I have no idea where my copy is right now, so I can't read it, but I did start reading it. And lastly, I predicted that I would read Grady Hendrix' Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. Witchcraft for Wayward Girls follows a pregnant 15-year-old in a home where she will carry her pregnancy to full term and then give her baby up for adoption before returning home so that nobody knows that she had the baby. She runs into a librarian who is also a witch, and her and a group of girls decide to go to witchcraft to get out of the situation that they are in and save themselves. Okay, so I will be right back. I am going to go run my errand, and then I will come back and I will tell you about what I read in March. Hi guys, I'm back. It has been 2 months. I'm so sorry. I have a feeling I recorded this and then forgot about it, or I can't find it or something like that. So let's start off with my May what I read. It wasn't the best reading month, but I did have a 5-star read, so I feel like it's all okay in the end. It worked out. It was worth it. Maybe not actually, but you know, trying to keep it on the positive side in this point of my life. The first book I read was Orbiting Jupiter. Orbiting Jupiter follows the main character who's getting a foster brother because his family is deciding to foster a very down on his luck child. The child has just come back from juvie for assaulting a teacher at his old school, and so now everybody at his school is being super prejudiced against him, and the main character is also being prejudiced against because that's his foster brother. Anyways, we follow the foster brother and the main character and the main character's parents on their way and a journey trying to find the foster brother's daughter. And it's just so surreal because the foster brother is only about 13 years old or 14 years old, and this child is almost 1 at this point. I think the book really does a really good job at representing very unfortunate situations and the foster system and a lot of prejudice. The prejudice for such a small book does feel a little bit heavily layered on, but I understand that the entire point of the book is to show how bonds can be formed through oppression and through negative situations. I ended up giving this book a 3.5 just because I feel like it was extremely dramatic for such a short book. It was only about 100 and something pages, and I feel like if we had a longer book, the amount of stuff that was crammed into the small book would make a little bit more sense. Next and final book I read for May was Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. I ended up giving this book a 5-star. As you know, I said I already had a 5-star. Witchcraft for Wayward Girls follows a main character who accidentally ends up getting pregnant because of a lack of education in her hometown. Her family decides to send her to a basically boarding school of sorts for other pregnant people, where she will carry the baby for full term and then deliver the baby and then give the baby to a couple who might not be able to have children. It is a very emotionally abusive environment. It is very much medical abuse in a way, and she decides, her and a couple of other people in the environment decide that they're not going to stand for the abuse anymore, and that they are going to use witchcraft, which they discover by going to a library where the librarian is a witch, to completely overhaul their life and escape from the negative situation in which they are in. I am a big fan of witchcraft and big fan of occult things. I love witches specifically, so I definitely had a very exciting time reading this book. And I think that this book, and I feel like I say this with all the things that I review, in which I'm like, oh, it does a really good job at, it highlights this, it really exposes this, but I think it does definitely do a really good job at adding a whimsical side and a very freaky side to the negative things that were happening to teenage girls who did not have sexual education back in the day. The book takes place in the 70s. And also, I feel like the witchcraft definitely plays a metaphorical and also physical role in representing feeling trapped in a scenario, feeling like you cannot escape. Oh, I forgot to show you the book. This is the book. Mine is a little bit warped and a little bit water damaged, but I do own the book physically, and I'm so glad I bought it. It was one of my more recent purchases. I think I bought it in April, but I'm really glad that I read it. I saw it and I knew I was going to read it. Let's move on to my DNFs. I have 2 DNFs. They are both DNF for pretty much the same reason. The first one is When the Crawdad Sings. I think that the book was really slow paced. I loved the movie, even though it wasn't my favorite movie, but I did actually really enjoy it. And the book, I feel like I'm going to have the same feeling, but it is just such a long, drawn out book, and it really felt like there was a lot of filler chapters that didn't really need to be there. Like, if you took it out, you could still understand the book, and it would be probably at least a fourth less long than the book itself. And so I think I ended up DNFing it around 33% of the way, because we were not getting anywhere. We were having nice flashbacks and also nice future scenes and investigation scenes, but it also still felt like we were still in the same place over and over, and pretty much nothing had happened. So I think I'm going to try and find this as a library book eventually. And the next book and last book I DNF'd for this month was A Little Life. It was the same issue, except I did actually want to finish reading the book. I think I would like to read it in physical copy. I just feel like I didn't understand what I was reading. That's the thing with ebooks I feel like I notice, is that it's definitely not the same as reading it on paper, and I know there are some very similar paper alternatives, and I'm going to look into those, but that's just how I felt about it. Let's move on to my carrying over. I have the physical copy of this. We have Turtles All the Way Down. This has been a book on my summer TBR, and I have carried it over a couple of times. At first my laps hold and I just wasn't really into it, and then I started getting into it, but my laps was holding, so now I have the physical copy, and I don't know what it is, but it just seems like anytime I read a John Green book, I have to read it as a physical copy, otherwise I just can't get into it. The next book that I'm carrying over is The Great Gatsby, because I am so determined to finish it inside the month of June. And lastly, thanks for watching. Okay, so sorry besties, I had to take a dump. My tummy was upset with me, and that's on being lactose intolerant. Also, on an unrelated note, I think I'm gonna make an end card. It's gonna be so cutie. And also, what would you guys think if I just shifted more to like books and stuff like that, and then Slice of Life can be like once a month or something like that? And also, what would you guys think if I switched my channel to be more purpley? I tried to keep a neutral color in the beginning just because I thought it was cute. It was kind of scrapbooky, but my favorite color is purple, and I really just want some purple in my life. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, back to my video. Our last category is the predicted. I predicted that I was going to read The Hawthorne Legacy and Goodnight Stranger. It's been haunting me. It's literally been haunting me 24/7. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so excited to be here with you. please give this video a like and subscribe if you liked it. Comment down below what you want to see next, and go check out some of my other videos. Make it an amazing day. Bye guys. Mwah.